Hello and welcome to your free complete guide to the 11 plus and how to support your child at home with me, Marion MacDonald from Confident Learners. It's lovely to see you here. Thank you very much for downloading this guide. It will come in the form of five emails with short little videos on. The first one is this one, and it's all about the 11 plus and what the 11 plus is specifically, what's included in it, what the main challenges of the 11 plus are, and importantly, whether it is the right choice for you and your child. Okay, so I'm going to be digging into that just now. So just give me 2 seconds, just move myself out of the way, and off we go. So first of all, what is the 11 plus? It is a highly competitive and challenging exam, okay, but it is entirely optional. It is only for those children who want to get into either grammar or independent schools. Now, those are the selective schools in the UK. The grammar schools are the state schools, which are the government-funded free schools, basically, and the independent schools are the fee-paying, sometimes called private schools. But both types of school are selective, which means that children have to do an exam to get a place at year 7. All right, so that is what the 11 plus is. It's a blanket term that's used to describe all those entrance exams. They vary hugely depending on the local education authority area that you are in, and sometimes even within the schools within that education authority. So wherever you are in the country, there might be slightly different rules and regulations, but the whole premise is the same idea, and the curriculum they cover is pretty much the same. Okay, again, there are little changes and a few nuances depending on the exact location, your location, and the schools you're going for. But very basically, all of these exams cover the Key Stage 2 curriculum, which is years 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the exam will include skills, knowledge, concepts that children are taught in maths and English in year 4, 5, and 6. Now, this is important because it also stretches on a little bit into the year 7 curriculum. It goes above and beyond the primary school curriculum. Not just in maths and English, though. So maths and English are your core subjects at school, and your child will have been learning those at school, but the children are also tested at 11 plus on verbal and non-verbal reasoning. Now, these are two subjects which they are not taught at all if your child is at state school. If you're currently at a private school, then you're more likely to have done some verbal and non-verbal at school. Okay, so that's one of our challenges, is that it includes subjects which the children aren't learning at school. And the subjects that they are learning at school, maths and English, it includes them to a much higher level than they are actually going to be learning at school. And that becomes even more of a problem when you realise that the grammar school exams are at the beginning of September. As soon as your child gets back to school in year 6, they will be taking those September exams for grammar schools. The independent schools have a little bit longer. They're sometimes as early as October, usually in November, sometimes in January even. Okay, so there's a little bit more time for the private schools, but grammar schools, are usually in September, right at the beginning of September. So therein lies the problem. We've got children who are coming back after year 5 to sit an exam on everything that's in year 6. So they haven't been taught it yet. And that's a real problem. And that's why there's some extra work that needs to be done to prepare your child for the 11 plus. Okay. However bright and able and wonderful they are, they will still need to be taught the maths and English for year 6 and a little bit of year 7. And they will also need to practice and be taught the verbal and non-verbal reasoning. Okay. And then a lot of people ask me what the pass mark is. Now, the pass mark, there isn't a pass mark. There isn't a pass mark that's, if you get 80%, then you've passed into a grammar school. As again, every single grammar school and independent school will have their own marking procedures. And they usually in the grammar schools are done on a points system. And those points are allocated depending on the cohort. So how many other children there are applying and how well those children have done, but also depending on your child's age. That's what's called a standardized age score. So your child's age is taken into account. So we don't talk about percentage pass marks with grammar schools and independent school exams. We talk about whether or not you've been offered a place. And it's some bit of a mystery. Quite a lot of us don't know what those pass marks are, what those cut-offs are for selection and not. and waiting list. All right. But very basically, because they are so competitive, we're going to talk about the competition. Because of the competition, you should be aiming to get your child around about 80% or higher. Now, as a ballpark figure on this slide, I've put that there's 500 applicants for 100 places. That's huge generalization, but it's about ballpark for the grammar schools. Sometimes less competitive for the independent schools, sometimes far more competitive for some of the most prestigious grammar schools, some of the London schools, some of the Kent schools. There will be thousands of applications for only a few hundred places. Okay, so if you think about the fact that your child needs to be getting well over 80% in their exams to be in with a chance of being offered a place at one of these schools, then your child needs to be in the top 20% of all the applicants. So of those 500 children that are taking the exam on exam day, your child needs to be in the top 20% at least to be in with a chance of being offered a place. Okay, so they are hugely competitive, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, and I'll talk more about that. My theory on learning is that 11 plus should not be stressful, should not be detrimental to a child's childhood and enjoyment of learning and their confidence. It should be much more of a positive experience. So competition can actually be a good thing. Okay, a little bit of motivation, a little bit of determination, and there is absolutely no reason why your child can't be within that top 20%. So with that, is it right for your child? Is your child up to it? Is it the right decision for you as a family? So let's just be absolutely clear on this. Not every child needs to apply for these exams. All right, there's nothing saying, I don't quite know where to put myself, I'll put it down here. So not every child needs to apply. If you just want to go into a normal state secondary school, there are no exams. Okay, the SATs exams that they sit in year 6 are not selection exams. So anybody can apply. Okay, it does say that very few will pass, right? But the ones that pass are usually those that are bright and able children, because they have to do this extra work. They have to cover all of year 6 before they get to the end of year 5. And how do you know whether your child is at or above expected level? Well, look at their school report and you will see that nowadays children are sort of categorized into expected level being sort of Joe average. And then there's above expected average and greater depth, but there's also below expected level and working towards expected level. Okay, sometimes there's exceeding and all of those other words as well, but very generally, you will be aware of whether your child is an average child in the middle of the class or whether they are exceeding those expectations for that year group, be it in year 4, you've just finished year 4 or year 5. Okay, children who are not at that expected level yet probably would benefit from a little bit of extra work, doing some curriculum work for their classroom level of learning. Those that are at or above or at greater depth will probably rise to the challenge of the more extended curriculum for the 11 plus. Okay. There is also a lot of time and effort that is required to do one of these exams. But I do want you to think about the long-term gains of this. It feels like a lot of hard work right now, but if you think about the long-term gains, which I'll talk about in tomorrow's video, then it is all worth it. And the confidence and the love of learning and the work ethic that your child will develop throughout the process will be more than worth it. But you do need to have and be able to and be willing to make that time and effort. Okay. Growth mindset is something that I feel very passionate about for children. There's going to be more on that in one of my later videos. But for right now, if your child is the sort of child who wants to do well, who wants to try hard, doesn't battle homework every night, and is happy to learn, is interested, has a desire to better themselves, wants to learn, has that thirst for knowledge, then that child is most likely to succeed. Okay? And importantly, you as a parent can value education. So as I said, it's not just about the now. It's about looking forward to GCSEs, A-levels, onto universities, onto professional qualifications. You know that journey starts now. And you know that if you start that journey on the right foot, with the right school, with the right work ethic from your child and giving them the best possible opportunities, then they will succeed further down the line. All right. So it does require a little bit of dedication, little bit of time, little bit of effort, but it is worth it. Okay, so that's the end of our first video. Do pop back tomorrow. I'll be sending an email out at the same time tomorrow with another short little video, which is all about how to get your child on board with the 11 plus so that the process is fun, stress-free, and absolutely not a battle. All right, top tips coming tomorrow. See you then.